Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do this morning is do what I normally do on most mornings or whenever I have some downtime and free time, is to go on a walk and talk and have a chat about a book and see what we can glean, what we can learn, and what we can incorporate into our inventory of skills, knowledge, and potential wisdom. The book that I've selected for this particular episode is entitled Math with Bad Drawings, a book that was published on the 18th of September 2018 by an author who goes by the name of Ben Orlin. I'll read a quote just to get us into the mood and on our way. And the quote is as follows: "Math lives not in the material universe of science, but in the conceptual universe of logic." This book isn't just a clever title, it's a mission statement. This author brings math to life, not through equations and proofs alone, but with stick figures, doodles, and a quirky sense of humour that makes even abstract ideas feel surprisingly human. When one picks up this book, they expect a few jokes about numbers, but what you actually get is a warm invitation to see math not as a subject, but as a lens, one that can help us understand fairness, voting, risk, probability, and even beauty. Orlin isn't just teaching concepts, he's building bridges between math and messy real life. And the best part, he never talks down to the reader. He welcomes you in, no matter how math averse or anxious one may be about numbers. So let's see what we can pull out in terms of insights from this book to help us on our journey through life. So the first key message to come from this author is that math is not about numbers, it's about ideas. One of Orlin's most powerful messages is that math isn't just calculation, it's a way of thinking, it's a way of seeing the world around us. It's about spotting patterns, asking questions, and using one's logic and rationale to navigate the unknown. Whether it's understanding compound interest or judging the fairness of a voting system, math gives you the tools to think sharper. The next key message to come from this author is where he reminds us that mistakes are where your learning starts. The bad drawings are more than a running joke. They're a complete philosophy. Orlin shows that imperfect thinking is part of the journey and not a flaw. As someone who always fears getting math wrong, this is quite liberating for all of us. It reminds us that exploring an idea clumsily is often better than avoiding it altogether. Another message from this book is where we look at probability. And probability, of course, is weird, but probability is everywhere. Through poker games, lottery tickets, and life's little and big uncertainties. Orlin demystifies probability and shows how counterintuitive it can actually be. He doesn't just throw percentages at you, he shows you how our brains often misread risk and how math can help us recalibrate and get things better and closer to reality, especially these days where we are inundated by information, misinformation, and disinformation. We live in a world of headlines and statistics, and this understanding that the author gives us is like providing us with a mental superpower. The next message to come from this book is that fairness actually is a mathematical question. What's the best way to split a bill, divide a pizza, or run a fair election? Orlin dives into game theory, division, algorithms, and voting systems to show that fairness isn't just moral, it's actually mathematical. It makes one see how decisions that seem simple on the surface are full of subtle trade-offs and logical puzzles. And the last key point to come from this author is where we discover that math can be funny, emotional, and even beautiful. Orlin's writing is full of charm, not just because he's funny, which he really is, but because he finds humanity in the most unexpected places. Whether he's drawing a love story between parallel lines or explaining the heartbreak of dividing by zero, he makes math feel alive. This book, Math with Bad Drawings, can remind us of why we ever liked math in the first place. Not because we're ever really good at it, but it makes us, it made us, and it will continue to make us curious. This is a rare book that teaches, entertains, and quietly builds confidence all at the same time, because this author, Orlin, doesn't just illuminate math, he reintroduces it as a friend you haven't seen in years and missed more than you thought. If you've ever felt intimidated by math or just wondering how it applies to the real world, this book is your permission to slip to slip, to explore it, messily, joyfully, and even with a pencil in hand. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where I'm coming to you from the wharf here at Meadowbank on this perfect Sydney winter's day. Take care, yassas, and bye for now.